Hi, I'm Angela Ruggiero, a four-time Olympian in the sport of women's ice hockey, Olympic gold medalist, Hockey Hall of Fame member. I loved hockey. I loved playing sports. After I played, I went on to serve on the IOC as a member and then executive board member. And while I was at the IOC, I'm very proud to initiate the Gender Equality Review Project way back in 2017 and currently serve on the Gender Diversity and Equity Inclusion within the IOC. My background, obviously, as an athlete, I served as the president of the Women's Sports Foundation, a board member there. I care very deeply about the subject we're about to learn about. What I do now is I founded and am CEO of a company called Sports Innovation Lab. We're a market research company. We were built to empower the industry to be a better version of itself through data insights and innovation strategy. We focus on helping the whole sports ecosystem around understanding their fan, their consumer, in order to better represent their fan base, build better innovation strategy, and use data really at our core to advise our clients and to build sport, to have more impact in women's sports, to have social impact, to just be a more inclusive, innovative, forward-thinking approach to the market. So we're very much aligned to SIGA's mission to have a positive impact through sport. And I'm incredibly excited today to announce that Sports Innovation Lab has been accepted as a member of SIGA. We're really looking forward to bringing our research capabilities to the SIGA ecosystem and continuing to push for sustainable practices that promote the integrity of sport globally that we all love. So special shout out, thank you to Emmanuel for his guidance throughout this process, for MasterCard for putting this amazing event and partnering Ali to support us. Sandra Lopez, who's put our name forward. Many people to thank, but really excited as a company we're part of SIGA. So I want to quickly talk about women's sports. We've done a tremendous amount of research in the women's sports space, kicking off a few years ago with the groundbreaking report called the FAN Project. Google it, look it up, download it. It's great. What we found through this research in the FAN Project was that women's sports is one of the biggest growing trends in the sports market, full stop. We found that these fans of women's sports, that's men and women, are avid. They're loyal. They're absolutely hungry for more. There is a tremendous amount of demand in this market that we can't capture today. There isn't enough inventory. There isn't enough supply, but the demand is there. Fans are hungry. They're these future consumers. They want more. So fans of women's sports love it. They're depth over breadth, as I always say. In our second groundbreaking report, titled The Growth of the Women's Sports Community, we actually conducted the largest observational spending study ever for the women's sports sector. We looked at where fans are actually spending their money versus taking a survey and saying they love women's sports. No, where were you putting your money? And what we found through that report was that despite the fact that women's sports receives only a fraction of media coverage and sponsorship investment, just a fraction, we're already behind the curve. In spite of that, we found that fans of women's sports, this community specifically, is growing at a rate significantly higher than that of the general sports fan. Let me repeat that. If you think about the acquisition and retention, the growth rate of this community in particular, it's off the charts. So women's sports fans are growing at a clip much higher than the general sports fan or than any other sector that we looked at. So fans of women's sports are growing. There's high demand, but they're also purpose-driven. They're digitally savvy. They're this future consumer that the entire sports market should watch. Yes, there's a big opportunity to support and see it grow, but also it's the future consumer. We call it the fluid fan. The fluid fan lives in the women's sports community because they have to. They're downloading, they're figuring out where their content is or figuring out how to follow these athletes. It's a really interesting sector to understand and to support because it's only on its up and up. And this research has led us to a big announcement. Today, we are actually announcing the official launch of the Women's Sports Club powered by Ally Financial with the goal of improving media and investment in this landscape. So we're going to convene some of the most influential buyers and sellers in the women's sports ecosystem to facilitate a dialogue to continue to figure out how do we invest more? How do properties, brands, and media companies come together to invest and amplify women's sports. So let's break this cycle. Let's go hard at this consumer. Let's build a better place for our daughters, for our sons to have more female role models. Let's do more to make the women's sports ecosystem thrive. I'm really proud to be a part of that conversation, really proud to be here with SIGA, and want to just thank everyone here for your continued support of women's sports. And I wish you the best today in the conference.